Just get ready.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another perfectly timed episode of the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. Today we're talking to the experimental alternative group from Austin, Texas. The one, the only, Trouble in the Streets. That's right. We getting freaky. They're beautiful people, and I enjoyed this conversation immensely. It was tremendous. Everything. It was the best we've ever had. Seriously. It was tremendous.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot. We covered a lot of ground. Just want to remind everybody that if you haven't got your tickets to Utopiafest 2019, the 11th annual, that is coming up this weekend, November 14th through the 16th. You can still get tickets at utopiafest.com.
Imagine.
Join us out at Reveille Peak Ranch, everybody. And although Trouble in the Streets is not performing, I'm pretty sure they're going to be out there hanging out like the rest of us utopians. Oh, man. Coldest day of the year. Feels good to be cozy. Hope you're cozy too, everybody. Sit back and enjoy the show.
I'm recording now.
Okay. On NPR, they're talking about like how
Oh, I thought
it
I had a
went
screw
in.
penis.
Wait, ducks?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
No.
Ducks have big corkscrews.
Ducks have two vaginas
Okay.
and a corkscrew, but they can divert one if they don't think that is like a suitable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris is like that.
And don't theirs fall off at the end of the season?
Came in at the wrong time. I just came to check out my pedal board. All right, we're good.
Hey, this is Trouble in the Streets. Talking about duck corkscrews. All right.
That's,
Man.
I mean, it's a good warm up.
It is.
Exercise.
Truly.
Oh, are we back from commercial? Sorry. Anyways.
I'm never gonna sell any undies.
No.
I might. You know, that might be good to break into our Adam and Eve. Monetization. Because we talk about sex a lot on here. We usually just start the podcast out talking about sex.
You know, just
Between ducks and Klingons. Relatable stuff.
Relatable.
You know?
Relatable.
Very
Yeah, we are sitting in a really cool studio.
thank you.
Jam room space. Is this where y'all record too? Demos and stuff? Or?
Demos, yeah.
Demos,
Yeah,
yes.
sure.
It's very cool. You got burlap sacks hanging from the ceiling.
All the coffee
I
bags.
don't know if they do anything, but damn, do they look nice.
Hotel lamps. You got your EP framed up over there.
EP artwork.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Made by Scott Locke.
Scott
Tons
Locke.
of instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Scott Locke.
Yeah.
And
He's the man.
Todd Bott also on the
Top
logo
bot,
there.
yeah.
Very awesome. You guys, I've been trying to track you down for months.
I know, we've been
You're on the run.
Instagram talking.
You're on the run. It's like you did something illegal and you don't want to talk about it.
We're in trouble.
I'm not 26 anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, you're busy. I
Yeah.
get it. And y'all have actually been a lot busier since the first time we talked. It was like, yeah, hey, we got this EP coming out. And then it was just like floods of shows. And y'all have done a few fests and
Yeah.
some staying very busy.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of compelled you to get together and make a life of this? That's always one of the first questions I like to ask people who are this committed to a musical life. Because, you know, it can be isolating, but it can also be one of the most rewarding things because you meet, you know, a whole world of people. So, one by one, born, raised. No, but really, I mean, how'd you guys get together and form this really cool idea? Because we'll get into the music and how dynamic it is
Yeah,
in a
for
little
sure.
bit. But
Me and I guess kind of like depends on how far back you want to go with it. I moved to Austin to get more into the music scene. I was in a band in Phoenix. Bobby had been doing it in Ohio and Maryland in music, and Nettie was in Houston. But I moved here, and Bobby was one of the first people I met. His old band was looking for a bassist, and we got together. And Wozak, yeah. And a weird instrument. I guess it wasn't all instrumental, but weird experimental jazz jam fusion insanity. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think we had both kind of already made the decision to dedicate to music, and later on, 2 bands later that I'd been in with him, we were friends with Nettie, and she had some songs she wanted to show us, and we really liked it, and so we were doing that, and we had our old band still, and everything kind of shifted to this band because it was just really making a lot of sense, and the flow was really good, and yeah, we've been inseparable since, I guess.
So Austin was really the common ground.
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a breeding ground for experimental music,
Totally.
very accepting. Always has been. It's one of the really cool things. I mean, Houston is too, actually.
Tony comes out of there.
Yeah.
Lots of great rap. Toby Neiige, who's like blowing up right now. It's like really great.
There's just something about Austin though that has like a support structure
Really
that stands out, I think, from a lot of places.
For sure.
So when you guys decided you're gonna do this, did you have a sound in mind, or was it just kind of let's use your song, let's just add to each other's music, and then just this happened, or was it just like,
It's kind of how it started, right? Like we just kind of all brought ideas and like
kind of recycling, or
recycled. Like some of the old songs we don't even play. Most of them we don't play anymore.
They kind of getting to know each other's songs, and like realizing,
and it forms into this. I don't know, this melding of ideas, and we all kind of have similar tastes in music too. So that kind of helps with idea sharing and just kind of like challenging each other as well, like when it comes to finding new music or new influences.
Yeah, we come from a lot of different areas. I think at the beginning we did had some ideas on what we wanted this to be, and we definitely wanted it to be different than most of what we'd done before. We really wanted to get this kind of electronic, Ghostlandy kind of vibe, I guess, but I don't think we knew how to do it back then. And so we just experimented with things, and our own influences bled heavily into that, and it kind of became its own thing. And over time, we kind of learned more about how to make more electronic sounds. And so I'd say, if anything, now it's gotten closer to what the original idea was in some ways. But we've also, I think we all come from such different backgrounds that our influences have definitely bled into each other. Things that we didn't usually listen to, we listen to now.
Open your minds up a little.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. I do feel like recently it is kind of like closer to the original concept. Like we've gained the experience, and also
diving deep into these synthesizers and software programs, which turns out is really hard to use on stage sometimes. we actually tried to bring like Ableton and electronic gear at our very first show, and it's malfunctioned on stage, and different cables that we thought were plenty long were like, it turns out you can't stretch a 5-foot cable all the way across stage like you can in and we had exactly on this so that was kind of a disaster. So we took everything more from a regular band perspective for a long time.
Have a more organic backup plan, at least, you know. It's a lot of bands have had that problem, I think, since the beginning. The Beatles, like there was a big problem. I don't remember exactly what album, but they couldn't perform any of it live.
Yeah.
It was like kind of pissing people off. Like
They did all kinds of studio tricks that were like, well, it's just not going to be the same. Slowed down and sped up vocals and backwards tracks.
Not only does it take having to teach yourself that kind of stuff and figure each other's chemistry, but just money, piece by piece you have to put this together, or you add a new piece and it changes the dynamic of the last piece.
Very much so, yeah.
But I think you guys, there's a lot here to just just play with, you know. I know, Bobby, you were telling me you're becoming a multi-instrumentalist. You've got the theory.
I got the theory.
It's there.
Yeah.
How much of that becomes a shuffle when you guys write? Is it kind of like, do you kind of challenge yourself, or is it just, hey, I'm going to stay in my lane because we write faster this way? Or
Well, I think that, one, it's just nice to kind of come from an arrangement background and kind of really be able to take a step back and work with what layers to use and all that, and sonically how to orchestrate it. I think now we've gotten, and we've talked about this before, but I think our writing process is pretty organic and just we're really a unit when we're writing now. And like I've said in other interviews, it just takes time and experience and being with people to reach that point. You know. No idea is bad in this room. Every idea pretty much gets used and exhausted
until we prove that it's bad.
Yeah, until we prove that. Yeah, until we prove that. It sounds like farts.
It's a good way to do it.
But I think that it challenges us, and also it makes everyone feel like they have an equal voice in here, and I think that's the most important thing, because no one in this band can do what the others can.
Yeah.
And that's just that mutual agreement right there to be unified.
Respect for each one's talent. Yeah,
definitely.
Well, I noticed that your productions were they're EPs, early production. Is this material that you guys are going to hold on to and kind of put into a bigger collection, like in an LP format, or is this kind of stuff like, hey, we've written it, it's the way we want it to be, it's not going to change, we're not going to go back in, and it's not going to be a part of a collection, it is what it is. Kind of a move forward thing. Because the EP label, it can be misleading. A lot of people think, oh, this is going to be on an album, or this is, but some people really, it's like, hey, no, this is what we're working on now. Yeah. It doesn't belong with the next set of stuff. How do y'all view that?
I think a little bit of both is kind of probably what's happening. Some of the songs there, we definitely have evolved a bit, and I could see them showing up again later on as
pieces of them, maybe. As
just a new evolution of them. Other tracks are like, that was definitely like a time and a place, and
because they are like living documents almost. Especially if you're playing them on stage, different events, different like you were saying, there's the wants, and then there's the the organic festival, the Utopiafest type, where it's like, okay, everybody can just be a band, it's not all one type pigeonholed.
Yeah, exactly.
You have different document versions of that. So by your 20th show, you're saying, no, this works way better.
To do it this other way, exactly.
And having a chance to go back in and record that would be cool.
Oh, for sure. And a lot of the times, a lot of those first recordings, we were very happy with the way they came out, but still they're rushed, and like I would definitely like to be able to sit down with some of those songs with a lot more time and a lot more thought being able to put into like the whole process. Just we've learned a lot too since then on how to really produce a track, and I think it would be cool to go back to some of those, but at the same time we're constantly writing, so it's like there's only so much studio time you can take. We're trying to get to a level where we can have our own home studio and just, because then we could just whatever we're feeling at that moment do that, but we're always kind of in this spot where we're like, we'd much rather focus on the brand new stuff we're working on if we get a chance to record. Ghosts. Exactly. Well, there's also a lot of songs that have never been recorded that we still play live, but we just, every time we get a chance to be in the studio, those were the ones that kind of fell in between, because we're like, well, that got written in that year that we didn't really have a chance to get into the studio, but now that we have a chance, we got this even newer stuff, and we'd rather focus on that right now. Some songs kind of get a little bit skipped over in that sense, but then some of those songs too, like we also get a chance to re-look at them, and so they never really got recorded at that phase they were in, and maybe that's for the better, or
step songs.
Exactly. The redheaded step song.
The redheaded step song.
We'll come out with that EP one day.
That's just, the B-sides is just redheaded step songs.
They're all B-sides.
That's hilarious, man. But
there's just more B-sides.
Yeah.
That are like,
we do find ourselves with some of the older songs that we still play live. Now we're having to completely redo, just because again, it's like the new material is on this whole new sonic level, and then when you go from that to one of the older songs that hasn't had that treatment yet, it sounds regressive in the show. You know,
even with the same arrangement of instruments, there's still something you can tell.
Yeah,
So
there's still something.
It's not always the same arrangement because like we'll have learned how to use more of the synthesizers with all the other songs to really get that full sound out of the show.
Yeah.
And some of these other songs weren't written with that in mind, so we'd still play them live without any synthesizers or anything.
Wow.
And then just bass guitar and keys for some of them, and it's like it's still a big sound, but it's like when you play it right after a song that just had this big sub bass thing going on, it's kind of like that doesn't quite hit the same way. So maybe we.
So Chris don't ever jump in with you guys? I don't think I've ever seen Chris on stage with you guys. He just
No,
we never really do. We
He
jam in here
travels quite a
sometimes.
bit.
Yeah, Chris is out of town a lot, so
yeah, maybe I'll utilize him. Just
Yeah.
throw him in there. Teach him your synth parts.
Chris,
get in here. That'd be cool. But yeah, I mean, it's I mean, that's a challenge in itself. Just trying to adjust, transition from one to the next without that. But I've also seen. For years, I've seen Green Day live like 3 times, and they've never been a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Everything's written as a 3-piece, but there's always 2 extra guitarists.
to do that. That's all. You see that a lot with like rock trios. I feel like,
And I know that they're.
I think Rush is the only one I've ever seen that actually pulls off the 3-piece as a live show.
because they're Rush.
They are Rush. They're all crazy.
But is that something you guys are opposed to?
Oh no, not at
Just
all.
for live shows, I'm saying.
We've brought guitarists live before. It's always been. We've always had a bit of a tricky time with other people in the band because our sound, what we go for is like not very standard. So a lot of time, if you only have so much time to get in the rehearsal studio with someone, a lot of times people have these different ideas on where they want to take the songs. They go, is it kind of this blues rock thing, or is it this like funk jam thing? And it's like, no, it's not really any of those. So we want to like be able to have a little more time, and then once you get somebody really sounding good on it, then he's busy with something else. So it kind of we definitely are interested though.
So you're not paying as much as Green Day. That's the problem.
That's the problem. We can't pay what Green Day
That's the
pays.
problem.
You get anyone these days. But that is always a funny thing. I've watched this thing recently, a while ago, about all these, what was it called? It was about all these bands that are always famously, like, however, 3 or 4 members, but they have, and they don't even bring them on stage, these people. They put them in the tent behind the stage, these backup singers and backup guitarists and keyboardists. Like Black Sabbath was one of their Ozzy Osbourne.
Had a bassist off stage.
Yeah. And it's just like, why? But it's like, well, because the photo of the band of what everyone's in their mind is these 4, however many people.
They won't know, and they'll lose their minds.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Who is this stranger? Wailing.
Nowadays, I feel like more bands just play the tracks. To cover those extra spaces,
And that's totally fine.
But if you want to be the true rock and roll kind of thing, you got to do it live. So these people singing backup under Ozzy behind the tent.
That's just sad for those people.
A little bit. I guess it's a good paying gig. I'm
sure it's great.
But especially at a festival, though, it's like one of the coolest parts about being in a band is that absorption.
Of
energy.
Very much.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you're gonna be way back there. Like just.
Can you check my email and
while you're laying down this riff?
But I do think for us, as long as we've done this and as many people as we've worked with and all that, you realize that talent is so low on the totem pole, and that you just gotta get along with people. 40,000 miles later, touring.
Yeah, because you don't know who they know, who they're gonna say about what they're gonna say about
right?
you,
And just being in tight quarters with people on the road, and not saying anything for
Not farting.
hours. Well,
and you have to fart.
And you have to
or just appreciating each other's farts.
Having to love them.
Having to love them.
Unconditional.
Yeah, but so I think that is
Guessing whose it was.
Oh my God.
Like, that
Didn't even need corn.
Lord. But you know, adding that extra dynamic to something that is so special right now, you know, it's a lot. Versus, and especially in conjunction with the compositional side of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is again one thing for us to refine these forms of these songs and then be like, okay, this sounds great. Now we're going to have a guitarist play, and then the guitar for us ends up being an auxiliary instrument. You know, it's like very riffy, you know, and very in the pocket, and then it's like solo, you know. But yeah, very, like Andy said, very easily can the guitar dictate the direction and make it way too funky or way too bluesy, and it's like, this doesn't sound like Trouble in the Streets anymore. You know.
Yeah, that is very to get as tight as you've gotten. Expect just somebody to come in there and figure that out.
Yeah,
I figured it would have to be somebody like Chris, who, you know,
weird sonic exploration people like that.
Yeah, kind of like a Tom Morello-y.
Who
kind of guy.
Who know their weird sounds and everything.
Yeah.
Checking for the street lights, trouble on my mind. This is our signal to play. Wait to get your check if you ain't been paid yet. You're in the wrong system. This is how we're gonna fight. This is our anthem. This is our coming of age. Walking towards the sunlight, straight in the moonlight, chasing whatever. So now we clever, right? We got that babe on it. We call it certified. They sell you sweet dreams. You tryna taste that money? They caught you by the high. So what you gon' do? You jumped up on this new, reroute the empire. Lost in translation, huh? Click in your own language, but you don't hear the call. Checking for the street lights, trouble on my mind. This is our signal to play. Wait till you check if you ain't been paid yet. You're in the wrong system. This is how we're gonna fight. This is our anthem. This is our coming of age. Walking towards the sunlight, straight in the moonlight, chasing whatever. So now we clever, right? We got that babe on, we call it certified. We sewed up all the laces, we see your trees and faces, we on that coolie high. So what you gon' do? You jumped up on this new, reroute the empire. Been checking mail for days, but we ain't seen that bread. We ain't checking for mama. Checking for the street lights, trouble on my mind. This is our signal to play. Wait to get your check if you ain't been paid yet. You're in the wrong system. This is how we're gonna fight. This is our anthem. This is our coming of age. Walking towards the sunlight, straight in the moonlight, chasing whatever. You see me, I'm gonna say, we will hold on. Can you feel it go down and take you home? Alright, we do it up. Alright, we do it wild. We about to get it in. We about to get it now. I pray and hold on to the human I know. Trying to get it all back. We let it all go. Why? Cause if we do it right, then you can stay tonight. And if we do it together, maybe we live forever. I pray and hold on to the human I know. Trying to get it all back. We let it all go. And as a fool, I point my finger up to God. And I feel her all over mine. And I run right to the sky. And as I run, I cut what I need to cut.
I mean, we work with Beto
Effects pedals.
Martinez, and he's
Yeah.
a great guitar. He's on that first album.
That is him on
He's
the
really
first
good
one.
at that atmospheric, experimental. I mean, he only had one rehearsal with us.
It blew my
Before-
mind.
Yeah, that was
before
really.
that album.
Yeah.
We recorded that album, and then he came in and knocked it out in like half an hour or something like that.
I was starting to get nervous because we had never even heard what a guitar sounded like on these 2 tracks that we had him on, but we had already booked him to do it, and the date of our first rehearsal together kept getting pushed back. So I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, I know this guy's professional, but I don't even know what to expect. Like, what's in his head right now? We gave him some, we gave him the charts and we gave him some, instruction on the vibe and everything. But yeah, he came in to the rehearsal space the day before tracking and just like knocked it out. There were like 1 or 2 things where we were like, try it a little more like that. And he's like, done. Perfect.
It's like warming up with Mars Volta.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
listening
gonna
to
be
him,
alright.
listening to everything he does with Grupo Fantasma and Neiige and
Brownout,
Brownout,
yeah.
it's just, it's
He's
awesome.
he's amazing.
Brownout, okay, yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them, of course.
They've
They
done
do
that
the
Brown
Utopia thing a lot.
Yeah.
Sabbath. Don't they do a lot of brown stuff? Like it's just
Like they did like RZA.
Sabbath. Yeah. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
That was
Change.
to learn
awesome.
an entire collection of somebody else's music
Yeah.
and put your spin on it with that many people.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like a 10 or
What was
12
the name
piece
of that?
band.
It's hard
or
enough
something.
getting 3 together.
I know,
Yeah.
They
right?
got recognized. Ozzy Osbourne saw them.
Ozzy Osbourne brought him out to
Yeah.
London and
Yeah.
listened to them do a set of
Yeah.
his music.
That is
That's
awesome.
There's
so
a video
cool.
of it. It's pretty great. Ozzy's just sitting on a couch, just like,
Hey,
he kind of requests a couple songs.
Odyssey impression. Wow.
hey,
Probably.
Y'all know fairies wear boots. They're like, yeah, we know that one. They're like, yeah, play that one next. Like,
Just sitting in his chair. And just-
yeah, I know. And like adding horn sections to that kind of music is pretty cool.
wow.
It was so cool what they did with Wu-Tang. That was just to hear those tracks, those sampled tracks orchestrated with real live instruments. It was just so cool. It was
Yeah.
so thick. The instrumentation was so thick. It was awesome.
That's a whole other scale of commitment.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of organization fascinates me. The polyphonic spree.
Yeah.
When that first seeing that collection of people.
Like, oh
and
my god.
even just bands like and as toxic as like Brian Jonestown Massacre, like bands like that just have 10 people that 5 of them hate the other 5.
Yeah.
You know, and, like it doesn't seem like that at all with Brownout. I mean, it's just
Oh,
it's
yeah,
all
no,
love.
those
you
guys
know,
are
it's all
community.
anti-balas, there's just so much love up there, and just so many people, and you're just like, they buy a hotel? Like, did they? How did they
Yeah,
get?
they just buy the whole
How?
One hotel.
Right? That is a lot.
How did they all get together and practice this and get as good as they do and have this much chemistry?
They've been
and live
doing
in
it
separate
since they
houses?
were young,
and-
too.
Oh,
like,
they've been doing it a while.
Yeah.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Heard a little bit of their story, but yeah, just like coming over to Austin, like as young, Hispanic crew of people, just kind of like, hey, let's make this, because they were Grupo first, and then I think Brownout came later, so it was more traditional
Yeah.
Tejano kind of stuff.
Just like we
and
added
just, like,
extra member,
yeah,
extra
yeah,
member. We
just
gotta
like-
rename the band.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah.
we're not just Phantasma anymore.
Round up, fantastic.
Eventually, people don't even know the name of the band. Like, he just brought me. I'm playing congos.
Well, all those guys have so many different projects
Oh,
together
yeah.
that are like overlapping. Like
Yeah.
they're almost the full band, but it's like, oh, it's all these guys minus one guy, but plus this other guy.
So what do you say? Grupo Fantasma, Brownout, Neiige, Golden Dawn Orchestra.
Kind of, yeah. in a
Yeah.
way.
Golden Dong.
Golden
Hard
Dawn.
Proof Afro.
Oh, I was like, wow, that's
Golden Dawn.
They moved
Do they have
Jason
some of the-
Frey,
Yeah,
Joseph
Jason Frey.
Ward. He's
Yeah.
in all of those too.
Golden Dawn is awesome. Sometimes she does backup
I sing with
vocals for
Golden
them.
Dawn,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're kind of like a Sun Ra, right? So we
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Afro
Sun
Jam.
Ra Orchestra kind of
They
feel.
played Utopia a few years back, right?
I believe so,
Didn't
Mhm.
yes.
they? Yeah, they're a wild time.
Yeah, that's a lot of people too.
So, what kind of period are you guys in right now? Being that it's a New Year's coming, a lot of people take a break right now, but then there's still a lot of stuff. Still a lot of New Year's Eve and
Yeah.
I know you aren't doing Utopiafest this year. And y'all might be there
Yeah.
Yeah.
to hang out.
We got
Yeah.
tickets. So.
You guys got tickets.
Oh, so
I got booked for my other group's doing a show on Saturday, so I probably won't make it this year.
We come back for that
I could.
late night
Party.
shaky set. That's
I know,
That's
right?
true.
Well, maybe I could make it for that. It's only a 45-minute drive now. I was
right,
thinking
yeah.
it used to be a 3-hour drive.
It used to be.
Yeah, but yeah, no, we love that fest. this will be, if I don't make it, this will be the first in 7 years, I think, that I haven't made it.
It's like 7 years.
Well, so getting back to that, what y'all's
Oh yeah,
what
we're
writing?
we're kind of in a writing phase right now. We're not taking a whole lot of shows. We got a short Midwest tour coming up in December, just kind of a long weekend thing.
Get out a little bit.
Yeah, and but yeah, other than that, we're kind of just focused on like bringing everything up to speed. Like we were saying earlier, taking some of those old songs and getting them up to where we feel like they stand on the same level as some of the new material does, and getting our show together, you know, adding little cool elements that we can always have. Troubleshooting gear is always a big thing for us with how much gear we have.
Gear overhaul for sure.
Have y'all had pretty good luck in the past touring? No, you know,
with gear or just touring in general?
Just touring in general, like you know, as far as like you know hiccups and stuff like that. Gear. I know you said you had some Ableton functions and stuff like that. But
we haven't died.
We haven't died on gear.
You're right. You're here. You look healthy. You all look healthy.
For the most part, you know, we're always perfectionists, so one little mistake and we talk about it for a month, but and try to fix it and hope it doesn't. And then if it happens again, then it's like, all right, we really can't let that continue to happen. It always like blows my mind sometimes, like what people notice and what they don't. Sometimes we think we just had the worst thing ever happen on stage, and you start talking to people afterwards and they're like, oh, what? I didn't notice that. Or I thought that was like the sound guy's fault. There'll be like a whole like what felt like an hour of us just like, I don't know what's going on. They're like, oh, I must have been getting a drink when that happened, or I must have like, or I thought it was the sound guy messed something up, and you're just like, okay.
Or they say
it was. That's what I'm saying.
Or they go, that was my favorite Trouble on the Street show I've ever seen. You're like,
you walk
that guy was on fire. They're like, it was great. Don't worry about it.
I see you guys pull it off though with that guy on fire.
There's been many dude on fire.
That blows my mind. That really does. And it reminds me of, I'm not really a Grateful Dead fan, but I have read A Long Strange Trip, and there's a passage in there about Jerry throwing Phil Lesh down the stairs after a show because he thought he did such a bad job. And then he went back and listened to the recording. He was like, this is actually pretty good.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So
they just weren't sharing that trip.
Yeah. They're on,
There's another one I always think of, another band I'm not really that big of a fan of, but Dream Theater. They're like crazy prog stuff, and there's this, they do all kinds of weird polyrhythms and just really complicated parts, and there's this part in a video where they just mess up really bad. Like, they lose the beat. They're all like, where's the one? Oh my god, what are we doing? Just going weird, and there's all these comments on the video online, just like, was that something like that's not in the album version? Like, that was like something special you did for the show, right? Like, that was amazing. They're just like, no, we got, like, they actually came out and they're honest. They're like, no, we messed up really bad right there. We have no idea how that happened.
Somebody has the flu. Always throw that one out there.
Yeah,
man. That Benadryl haze, put you on a little slower pace.
Yeah,
you got
It's like, Bobby, your drums are over here.
I love how in the prog
just
rock
stops playing.
The prog rock community, like, that's the biggest thing to go wrong. They're like, if we gotta come clean. We're not playing in 9/16. We're playing in 11/4, and just
drummer was in 12/9 and
that's the big controversy.
It was amazing, whatever it was.
Yeah, amazing.
Whatever it was.
I mean, but that's, to me, that's one of the cool things about bands and live music over, like, I feel like these days a lot of big shows have so much pre-production and backing tracks, and you know, I get that everyone wants to have like the most amazing, perfect performance every time on stage, but I feel like sometimes it's really cool to see a band mess up a little bit, and to see how they work through it. You know, like, to see that it's not, they're humans, but like they're really good at what they do, and if they do mess up, they're gonna like figure it out on stage, and that's kind of, sometimes it can be a cool thing to watch happen as a fan, and know that you got to see something happen that not everyone sees happen. There's this band Iodo that they played Utopia a long time ago at the pre-party, but they're like a electronic improv duo. It's a drummer and like a multi-instrumentalist synth player, and they just loop all this weird electronic music, and his whole everything shut down during a song during the show, and the drummer just did like a drum solo, but you could tell even the drummer's drums are fed through his whole electronic rig, so when it's all on, it's this huge booming drum set sound, and everything went down, so you just hear like acoustic drum. Well, it's still acoustic drums, but it's not going through the huge sound effect anything anymore. And they just did that, and everyone's just like, oh shit, and like it was like a good 5 minutes, but like still it was kind of like you don't get to always see that, you know.
Remember, wasn't it last year though? When was it? I think it was last year, or yeah, it was when Brownout. It happened to Brownout, right? Or was it?
Oh, that was a sweet party.
Yeah,
Sweet party.
Oh,
yeah.
They kept it
out,
and
and it just
They kept it going.
Yeah, they kept it going. It was really cool. They got everyone singing the lyrics to the song, and it came right back. They're like, "Oh, it came back in." They're like, bringing the bass again. Yeah, they pulled it off so good.
Especially when you have a hand percussionist on top of the drums. And you're like, all right,
we could stay here for a while.
Yeah, when it's just me, it's like, oh, you got all right. Like, how long can Bobby keep going?
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Computer's back on. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool though.
We've definitely had.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool when bands pull it off. It's not cool to see them tank and then get rocks thrown at them. Like, you know what I mean?
Rocks.
No, not yet.
I was thinking of Nickelback.
Oh, God. Anybody want to see some rock music? And then, where they're like Rio, like metal capital of the world. Anyone wants to see some rock music? And this bottle gets thrown at Chad Kroger's face. It's like going, and he's like, fuck you guys. Oh, Chad.
Man, it's brutal.
It's brutal.
They didn't do anything, I don't think.
Yeah.
Right? Just unprovoked. People just hate them.
Oh, yeah.
They really do.
You just walk a fine line, though.
Yeah.
Like, you could just not be the guy everybody likes, and then everybody hates you
Yeah,
for no
exactly.
reason. Then, like, we just don't like him that much.
Well,
Well, let's hate him.
They're too popular, too. It's just like- that's always what brings out even more hate, is like when somebody that nobody likes that much suddenly gets really popular, then everyone who doesn't like him has to like show how much they don't like him.
It's a shame.
Keeps coming on the radio.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, they took a hard turn. I don't know why we're talking about them, but
It's all right. We're talking about ducks at the beginning of this.
I'd rather talk about
Equal
swirly duck dicks than Nickelback. So I just rather would. And I think that's what our listeners would rather like to hear.
Yeah, most of the time.
Oh, this is good. This is fun. This is great.
Come on, come on, come on. If you wanna do it right, if you wanna live the life, if you wanna go, you can go all day. Trying not to do it all, turn the page from feeling small. You can go for what you need. If you wanna do it right, if you wanna live the life, if you wanna go, you can pass the day. Walking up to me in your hand, trying to manifest the bread, empty hands are all you see. If you feel it, you can say you with it. If you wanna go, you can change your fate. Send the smoke up to the sky, ask for answers, dream inside, peel away the mystery. If you feel it, you can say you with it. If you wanna go, you can pass the tip. See the cycles, take it slow, breathe it in and let it go. Master of your own free. You give me something I really need. Come on. So now we do it right, and yeah, we do it up. You could say you live the life, but you just pass the cup. We can go forever if we change our way. Looking for more promise, but expecting pain. And if you feel it, you can say you with it. If you wanna go, you can pass the check. Find the guidance from inside, stay connected through your eyes. See myself for what it is. A little hazy, message on the daily. Holding down that shit, train see the green if you pay me. And if your dreams get too big for the frame, you might throw it all away if it's safe your name. Cause if you're living like passion's your flame, it'll scorch away the earth. Come on through, show you the way. On your path, distractions to the side. We on a mission of survival, no excuses left alive. And what we doing it for? Come on with it now. And what we doing it for? I said it one time, I'll say it 2 times. We can double speak on it and walk the same line and look the issue right square in the face. We all cut from same floor, different patterns for days. Raise your hands, now we gotta dance, and then we'll call it trouble and say we understand. The question of what's left, how to maintain. We can't pass on to the next, what you scroll on the screen. How you living? Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Austin, Texas. Blah, 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 shack, shack, shack. Trying to find a reason to get worked up, worked up. Blah, 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 shack, shack, shack. Trying to find a reason to get locked up, locked up. Blah, 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 shack, shack, shack. Trying to find a reason to get worked up, worked up. Blah, 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 shack, shack, shack. Trying to find a reason to get. You give me something I really need. Wait, right where you are. 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 Trying to find a reason to get. Blah, shot. Trying to find a reason to get worked up, worked up. Blah, shot. Trying to find a reason to get. Blah, shot. Trying to find a reason to get. I see, I feel, I hear, I breathe, I know, I'll be, I live to live. I feel it all the way you go. I know exactly what it is. I breathe it all the way you know. To give you everything you need. I breathe it all away to give you all you need. I breathe it all away.
So what do you guys want to talk about? I'm chatting it up over here.
You gotta feed us the questions.
Oh, I'm supposed to prompt you. That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
What we got going on right now?
Yeah.
We got a new single we're working on. We're
Yeah.
kind of taking a new approach with this one, with the same guy we recorded before, but much more going into it with like a. He's helping us produce it. Before it was like we kind of like perfected these songs in our own time, got really solid playing them live, and went in there and just recorded what we had done. This time it's much more like we recorded a demo, showed him, saw what he thought. We shaved a 9-minute song down to just under 4 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, which took a lot. And
His request or you guys?
well,
like-
we knew we wanted to. We were like, let's turn this into a single, and we know that we would probably
Sure.
still play the 9-minute version live or
Yeah,
something
totally.
similar to it. But you know, we'll still let some of the new influence come through. Yeah, just completely new approach, and just really thinking about all the little production details you can add to something, because you know, studio isn't the same as live, so you get all this little doodads you can add. That, so we're kind of taking our time with that one.
Well, I'd love to. As soon as you guys get it out,
Oh,
let
yeah.
me know, and
Most
I'll
definitely.
let as many people.
Very
as
cool.
we can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I've featured you guys' music before on the show. I don't know if it helps. I guess the goal is for it to help.
Yeah, right.
The idea, yeah. I think what I'm trying to focus on with the show is the talent versus the metrics. And that's really hard to promote a band that's just on their own budget. There's nobody else promoting them, so just another guy who's on his. It doesn't really get that far. But I am trying to talk to bigger bands to kind of bring a light from their audience onto some of the smaller bands.
I think that definitely is a good
awesome.
idea.
Yeah, I think the goal, it's a 10-year goal. I'm not rushing it. I want to get good at this.
Cool.
I want to get a better setup, better mics, maybe a studio myself. But I love being mobile. I love going to people's spaces and seeing, what they do, while they're recording or whatever. Yeah. I think that's just, it helps me source knowledge. Yeah. And I think that this thing could be equally entertaining as it could be resourceful. A lot of people listening to this, who have this perfectly time set and, hear this interview and go, oh, yeah, remember we had 4 minutes on that song. Let's throw that back on, just,
cool.
I don't know. It's, I feel like if this becomes successful, it'll be a lot easier for bands like you guys to sort of move forward faster. Because it really comes down to audiences buying your music, not just streaming it on Spotify, going to iTunes or Bandcamp or wherever, just $5, $10, whatever.
And then coming to the shows.
Yeah, coming to shows, buying a shirt. I know it sounds stupid.
No,
I always buy a shirt. Just
it's really makes it and we found that our biggest source of revenue is shows and merch, like way beyond selling anything online, because most people do just stream. We sell some online, but it's really the merch. I mean, our albums, our CDs sell at the show, but not generally, not in a huge amount, not in a way that we can count on that kind of income.
Yeah, it doesn't fill your PayPal and you guys tore off your PayPal.
No, exactly. But at a show, you can take a tour where you're looking at your budget and you see your guarantees that are coming up and be like, well, we're gonna barely be under budget and merch can bring you and put you well over budget, and then you're good, But you really have to push that merch game too.
But I've heard a lot of successful bands say that their profits live and die at that merch table.
They really do.
And if they're not back there selling shirts or selling albums, it's just they're only getting enough to pay the band and eat that night, and that's it.
No, it's even worth it to pay an extra person to come with you just to do that.
Keep it open.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you need someone selling it while you're on stage, and depending on the run of the show, sometimes you have to get your gear off immediately after, so you don't have time to run over to the merch. And you want to get a drink or something, it's like, by that time everyone's lost interest, and people are very fickle like that. If you can't convince them to spend $20 while they're still got high energy from the show, then they'll convince themselves that they don't want to spend $20.
Oh yeah,
or remember that they can't afford $20.
There you go.
You got to take their money before they realize they can't afford it.
You got to take that last 20, man. They pull the pockets out and there's a fly or something. That's how you know we're eating tonight, baby.
We're eating tonight, boys.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, man, it's I commend you guys for getting out there and pursuing this. I think you guys have an excellent chance at this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know it's a lottery, but just to hear what you guys, because I've seen you guys live, and you're right, your live show is different than the recordings, but your energy is not. You're all there. You're
Thank you.
You dress up. You're interactive with your crowd. Your crowd responds. That's
It's so much fun.
That does. A lot of bands don't have just that.
No.
It's one thing to be able to sell shirts, whatever, but to get your crowd to talk back to you, that's a really. I feel like that's a very hopeful sign for people who are trying to. That's going to be their support group forever. It's hey, we're talking. We love each other.
No, it's very true. It's and it's part of why I like this band so much, because like I said, we've been in a whole bunch of bands before this, and some to varying degrees of success, but I've definitely had bands where people liked it or said they liked it, but I always felt like you're trying to convince people to do something they don't necessarily want to do by telling them to come to your show. Like, it always felt like a chore to be like, come on guys, come to the show, that kind of thing. I feel like this band, I don't feel that way. Like, there's fans that I don't know, which that's
like, I play emo.
That doesn't,
and I don't know why, but it's hard to get people to come. Right now I'm having a good night. I'm like, no, look, I've moved forward. That's why I wrote the song. And like we're working it out together. As a people. Like, I know, man, but that shit's from a rough time.
Right. I've been
we were there for
my old band, kind of a grunge rock band, and that felt the same way as like. It's like, that kind of music's not popular anymore, and nobody wants to hear about your problems.
Well, and
keep those to yourself.
We're all basically metal kids here. The three of us, and I think a lot of with the heavy electronic stuff, it fills that that part, and I think that's why we naturally kind of gravitated towards those kind of sounds, and
it's kind of right there in between.
It's kind of right there in between. We sweet and sour. And
honey to your vinegar. It's always sunny.
Yeah. Oh, FYI, she is a huge It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan.
Oh, me too.
It's great. It's
I love
great
it.
show. Yeah.
You guys can talk for hours. Should we go or
keep up?
Go get chicken wings.
Go get chicken. All right, there you go. But kind of like what he was saying, it just. Things just feel right in this band. And I'll never forget the show that we played. It was we played like the George Clinton Parliament Funkadelic like after party, and for whatever reason it was on a Sunday, and I'm like, no one's gonna be there. And I like basically
we also played like 2 hours after P-Funk got off stage. So we kind of just figured, like, we're going to be, like, as the janitors cleaning the place up, show, which has happened to us many times.
Yeah,
so
it has.
Where our mind was.
Yeah. And I showed up in my pajamas, basically, and this crowd let out into the control room, and we just threw it down so hard, and everyone was so receptive. I'm like, okay, we're done with whatever else we're doing. We're just going to go right.
Project is
when you feel finally that you're not swimming upstream. And that the people around you are starting to, kind of lift you up like that. Like, that's an incredible feeling. And like you said, that point where you look in the crowd, you're like, I don't know anyone here.
Yeah, but they're getting down.
Awesome. Yeah, it is awesome. And then the last part is just kind of the community that has formed around the band. And the greatest examples of that are, our lighting crew. They do it because they love it. They love the band. They designed an entire light show for us without us even knowing it.
Yeah.
Just
with you
complete with pyrotechnics.
With pyrotechnics and everything. And
don't go out like Great White, yo.
I know, right? But people,
they're very safe pyrotechnics.
Very safe pyrotechnics. But yeah, I mean, people are like, how did you get them and blah blah blah, and it's like you just if you're doing something right, then
people want to work with you.
Yeah.
We never went around searching for light crew
or
anything like that. It's just like
you just made friends.
Or techs that help us set up gear and stuff like that. Just people just, when you got something going on, people want to be a part of it, and it has kind of started a community, which is really neat. It's really cool to be part of something like that.
People love tits.
It's true. It's true.
Everybody does.
Everybody does.
It's a unifying.
It's a universal.
In the universe.
It is.
Good times.
Yeah, I mean, even that is just such a cool, just a funny acronym you guys have flashed on to. Because, I mean, really, your band is not like a sexualized thing. But it's just so funny to see I Love Tits, out on posters. It's like, dude, this is fun.
Total accident.
It's just fun. It's your community, like being a part of that community,
Our closed groups on Facebook are like Tits Camp and stuff like that.
So good.
Great.
Yeah.
That's so good. What is y'all's camp at Utopiafest? Do y'all have a name? Y'all do like the camp?
What was it before? That was at Head for the Hills. What was it
That was
called?
a great...
That was fun.
That went out in New
San
Marcos.
Marcos.
What was the name of our camp? It was on this little piece of cardboard.
I know, it was
And
such
it
a
was so
funny
stupid.
name.
Was it Freddie? It wasn't any of
No, it was like blah 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 blah. Da 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 da.
It was like, it wasn't that Nick Doe's crew that
I
came up
think
with
so.
that?
Oh,
I think that's what it
don't
was.
know.
Blah, blah, blah,
Blah
blah.
blah blah.
Oh,
Which
man.
doesn't he kind of remind you of Nick Doe a little bit?
See that?
I have
yeah.
a standard.
Yeah.
I know that guy mold. Everybody says that. Everybody
Me
says
too.
that. Yeah.
Nathan.
Dude, you look just like my friend. It's a lot of Nathans. I get a lot of
A lot of Nathan. You
Nathans.
kind of do look like Nathan.
Chris's. I get a lot of. You look just like my friend Chris.
Chris
Bring Chris
Pratt.
in here. I
He
bet
was
you
kinda
could.
like Chris
I bet
Pratt.
you could find some stuff.
Yeah.
But
Let's go
oh,
put
you
them
know
side by
what?
side over
Who
here.
drives the Matrix? Whose Matrix is that?
Me.
his-
Well, we
or
both
I-
have
Yeah,
one.
I
Yeah,
pulled
the
up in
Matrix
one
too.
too.
You and
Yeah,
I
good.
both are missing door handles on
Are you
that side.
serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare. I gotta
know.
like General Lee that fucking car. You know?
They're like, what did you do? I think they just picture me like walking over like I'm like, "Whoa!" just like
They're like all missing.
just like fuck
You might walk to the next one. Oh, I gotta walk over there.
No. And then you go to replace them. Yeah. The door comes off.
Right. Well, they're kind of they're the part is cheap.
Yeah, it's
They're-
$8 for a
it's
door
$8.
handle. Like, I don't
It's
want that shit back on my
No.
car.
It's really hard. I've YouTubed it. You gotta take the whole panel off. It's not
You and me
easy.
both, bro.
Yeah.
You and
We'll
me
pick
both.
an afternoon and we'll just. I got my ratchet set. We'll figure it out.
I'm lucky I got kids, bro, because I could have been the other side, just tap on the glass, open that door.
I keep a kid in the car with me at all times to make sure I can get
And
Send
I'm-
him in the window first.
I'm lucky I live out in the country, too, because I leave that window
Oh, yeah.
cracked.
Yeah.
Just reach
Out
on
here,
it.
everything would be taken 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Unfortunately.
The Toyota Matrix car door handle
Fix it, Matrix.
conundrum.
The car with the most recalls ever, too.
Yeah, right.
It's like, what?
I just took
There's
mine
a
in
recall
for-
on the recall.
what was it?
Yeah, there
The
was a
airbag.
recall on the recall.
Yeah.
There was a recall on the airbag sensor. They replaced it and then called me back and they were like, "Hey, that piece sucks too." We're like, "But we don't have one that works yet. We're just letting you know that one sucks." Like
Like
we're
you could die, but it's not our fault because we called
yeah,
you.
and we stopped making these cars like 11 years ago.
Oh
so
my
like
God.
basically, we're trying to tell you get a new car, you're gonna die.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's what the recalls totally are. Like, I hate, like, I took forever to respond to my recall because it's like, I know I'm going to have to go into the
this
dealership
is so funny.
and they're just going to try to sell me on everything else they got going on there.
Yeah.
Be
You
like,
buy
well, why don't you
Toyotas?
just, yeah, that's what they're like, the trade-in value of this thing, blah, blah, blah. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, like, first of all, that's terrible. I got the thing for like $5,000 and you want a trade-in value of $800 or some shit like that.
Yeah,
You
it's
get
horrible.
a T-shirt.
You get a t-shirt and you get in this hot new Corolla.
Ooh.
1996.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they still make Corollas? I don't know. Whatever it is.
Hey, that's a Matrix without the hatchback.
Without the
That's what a
hatchback,
Corolla
basically,
is.
what a
Yeah.
Corolla
I don't know if Toyota would be.
But they have
psyched
the
to hear
handles.
our
Every Corolla I've seen has its
conversation.
handles.
Right.
So.
Yeah, right. My Matrix
Brought
has
to you
the
by
handles.
Trouble in the Streets.
You have a Matrix
I got
with
the
handles?
Matrix, yeah. I got the
You're
handles.
just
Wait,
Mine are a different design.
You hearing this, Bobby?
I don't know. I have a different model Matrix.
your Matrix
You can
came
get a
with
door without a broken handle.
But they should bring the Matrix back. It's
This is
it's the
funny.
best band car I've
It
ever
is.
had because you fold
There
the
we go.
seats.
You're
We're-
so
It's flat. That's
yeah.
why he got one.
I'm
I was
glad
he's
we're
like, I
bringing
need to
this
get a
back to
car.
music.
I'm like, Matrix pretty
sleep
cool.
in it.
You can sleep in
You
it.
can,
Oh,
yeah. I can
You
fit an air mattress back there.
can, yeah.
You can not sleep
Mhm.
with someone.
You know what I did?
There.
The first, yeah, by yourself, yeah.
Or by yourself,
Fog the windows by yourself.
Oh my
The first
God.
week, no, the first month I had my hatchback, I picked up a hitchhiker.
Oh yeah.
And best decision I ever
Yeah.
made in my life, you guys. It's crazy. I picked him up. He taught me how to use my camera. Like, he was a amateur pro.
Okay.
And he saw me using my camera. I was like, "You're doing it wrong." He was French.
Nice.
And I was like, all right, well, teach me. And so he's like, well, take me to the Grand Canyon. I'm like, you're going to
Sounds
kill
like
me
clever.
and throw me down. But
It does
that's
sound like
cool.
clever.
That's cool. As long as you teach me how to use the camera. And we like slept in that car together.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh wow.
you know, not head to head, but
Tip,
totally.
tip.
Yeah. And then he taught me how to
feet in your
use my
face.
camera, but I've since like followed this dude. He's a travel blogger, and
Oh,
he
wow.
has no job. He lives off of just generosity. He's like a Buddhist, I guess.
Oh wow.
But his sign, he was holding a glittery sign that said "I'm awesome," and he had this like huge fro, and I was just like, I'm picking this fucker up.
that's
Like
so
this guy's coming home
cool.
with me. And
That's
he's
so
literally the coolest fucking Coolest fucking guy.
That's awesome.
Shout out Anthony. I know you don't listen, but you should.
You should.
Hey, but I drove from Nevada and dropped him off here in Austin.
Wow.
So we spent 3 days together.
So
That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, he was a sweetheart. Guys, we're sitting at 50 right now.
Oh wow.
It's
See,
been
it
a,
always flies, doesn't it?
it's been a great
Fun.
conversation.
It really has.
It has been.
Yeah.
Do y'all have anything you want to promote? Like, I know you're talking about your Midwest tour.
It's still coming together, but we got George's Majestic in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a really cool spot.
Buddy Sean James is
Oh,
from
yeah?
there.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Fayetteville's a really good little spot.
Mhm.
You
It
know,
really
it's a little
is,
hidden
yeah.
gem in there in the Ozark Mountains.
yeah, beautiful.
It is. Really cool people. It's kind of got like a mini Austin vibe to it.
Yeah,
a little
totally.
bit, a little college town.
Yeah.
So y'all been there, though?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they've got an appreciation for
Yeah.
it.
We've
Nice.
honestly,
Very
I
cool.
feel like that's one of, I don't know about the best, but it's one of our top towns
Okay.
outside of Austin we like to go to, which is cool because anytime we go that direction, it's like we might as well squeeze that in there.
I've never been to the Ozarks. That's on my...
Yeah.
It's
It's
beautiful.
awesome.
It's really nice, yeah.
It's
We used to go to a festival near there called Wakarusa, and
Never heard of that one.
yeah, it was a really good time up in the mountains, and so yeah, it's pretty close to that town. So we've kind of met a lot of people who live there, and
You ever been up
back.
to Oregon in that area?
not as a band, no,
Yeah.
not yet. We haven't made it. Haven't made it anywhere past Southern California.
I imagine the Ozarks being a completely different thing, but
Yeah.
touring, if I could recommend, go down the Columbian River Gorge. Try to
yeah.
find some shows along that, because it's
Yeah.
just hundreds of miles of like waterfalls
Oh
and
my God.
crazy like moss covered
It's
bridges. You know
beautiful
what I mean?
out there.
Sounds It really is.
Stuff to look at between.
We love that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
On the road. We love finding nature, national parks. and
You know,
stuff.
in Washington and Oregon, those are very embracing
They are, yeah.
cities for music.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
that's
much so.
definitely one of the
States.
next things on our list. We do Colorado a lot, so that's always fun touring. And
It is fun just to go.
just looking out the window as you're
Yeah.
driving is so much cooler than I mean, it's in general touring's nice to do that, but some places definitely get a little monotonous when you're just like it's fields. And it's still fields. I took a nap and it's still fields.
I don't want to be on my
Alright.
phone this whole time, but
Yeah, right. What else can I do?
Crocheting.
With my time?
I have thought about picking that up for touring.
crochet.
Yeah.
Sitting there just- Way easier than knitting.
Keeping your hand.
Dude, you know what would be a cool bar trick? I always
What?
thought if I had the time to do it, is learn the algorithms for Rubik's Cube.
Oh,
Oh,
I
he
actually
did
I
get
did
down
that.
one. He went down that
My
rabbit
best
hole.
time.
How are
with
you
the
not
Rubik's
just
cube.
earnings with that?
Right? My best time with the Rubik's Cube is 1:47.
Wow.
I can't do it anymore, but because I'm 33 and I've forgotten that skill. You can't unless
It's like
you
something happens.
unless you
turn it-
constantly
lose
do
all
it.
knowledge.
Unless you constantly
The
do it,
accident.
man. You will
get it
forget the
back.
algorithms.
Right.
Fun fact: Rubik's, the guy that made it, he didn't even know it was possible for like 2 or 3 years. It took him like 2 or 3 years
yeah.
to actually solve it. And when he did, then he was like, okay, now I can market this and make money off of it.
That's a mysterious universe we have.
You
It
can
is.
still make money off of nobody being able to.
Right? You're like, I don't know. No one
My
can
whole
solve it.
childhood, I'd always get one like in a stocking for Christmas
Yeah.
or something like that, and never solved one. So
It is
they're still
the
fun.
OG arcade game.
Kinda,
Because
yeah.
because when you screw up a level on the Rubik's Cube, the whole thing crashes.
Mhm.
You can't go back to the previous
Yeah.
one. So it's like, yeah, it's all or nothing with the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
But damn, is
learn
it
it.
satisfying.
How old is the Rubik's Cube?
I don't know.
When did
That's a
that
good
happen?
question. I don't want to look at my smartphone.
Rubik around.
I'll throw it in here, guys. I'll look it up.
Yeah, there you
in
go.
my fact check
There you
section
go.
Check at
of
the
this.
end.
Yeah.
Along with the duck penis.
This will
The
be
dark
this will
penis.
be my first fact check, but
Length
I'll
and
Nice.
direction.
Rubik's cubes.
yeah.
Oh
There'll be
my-
some hidden gems in here.
There you go.
But actually, I'm trying to include a little more content than, I do like the feature being the band and
Yeah.
the music, but I also just think like, man, I'm missing opportunities of like announcing news or just going back and like say this wasn't our interview, it was Sean's interview, announcing y'all's tour dates on that episode, just kind of that thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be more useful. So I'm getting there.
Totally
Yeah.
interesting. Incorporating it all.
Yeah. I have a lot of fun just once I talk to a band, following their career, just hitting that subscribe and signing up for emails, and then
Yeah.
it's just simple as me just reposting and resharing.
That's awesome.
seen a lot of stuff over the last few years. A lot of people have gone, in all over the world, and, and come back. And then I've seen bands with tenacity, and they're just awesome chemistry, and they just fall off. One moves, the other one gets married, or whatever it is.
Hard to keep it together.
It is. So good luck out there.
Thank you, and thank you for this. This is super important. Every interview, everything like that helps. And some of my favorite artists I've discovered, it's when I go back and I get this kind of secondary stuff from them that I find to be the most fascinating and the coolest stuff.
Like once you find out you like a handful of their songs, and then you find a podcast or something on them. And that's always.
And I've heard some great podcasts where they sit and talk about the meaning of the song, and Broken Record with Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh, nice.
That was really in depth, and he's just basically looking at it as, how is this a financial gain? Because the industry is broken.
Oh,
I
could talk a long time.
So we're all figuring it out together. I mean, you guys on the forefront obviously have a better idea than the people who have been stuck in an office, making executive decisions for 30 years in the same company.
It's a crazy thing. On our level, I'd hardly even use the word industry to describe what it is. It's really just like a collection of people who like music and people who run venues
to network,
trying to throw some fun parties that hopefully break even. It's more like that than to call it an industry, because there's no real money until you get into the industry. But then you find that that's broken too, and that's why it's so hard to get into, because they're like, we're trying to figure it out too. We don't know what's going on. Having
trustworthy management and good booking people. I mean, good people who do booking.
Yes,
I think that's probably the best.
It really is.
Those are the most important people to keep in your network. Everybody else, your fans, your other bands, all that's just going to happen organically. But keep that manager and those booking people in your pocket. But like you're saying, I think the podcast interviews are important. And I treat them that way. So for the people that do want to know and do care to go a little beyond,
Well, it extends out to just all these new mediums of taking it further and further and further. That's beyond just pressing play and listening to a track. And I think, without going into too much detail, I think that those variations of content is, in the future, that's going to be monetized, and because fans want to just be a part of any experience with the musicians and the artists that they love, and you're starting to see it in many different ecosystems in social media and social media platforms, and it's the artists that are starting to get hip to it that I think is gonna.
You have to take it in their own hands.
You do, and now is the time. For sure, now is the time.
It's never going to get less saturated.
It is not. It is not. You're right.
But you guys got it, man.
Thank you. Solid, Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
And there you have it. Trouble in the Streets, everybody. Thank you, Nettie and Andy and Bobby. If you guys want to learn more about them, all the links to follow them on the social surveillance media will be in the show notes, as will all the links to the iTunes and Bandcamp purchase sites. So, go support the band. We talk about it here a lot. You know that. You know how it goes. I'm really stuffed up, you guys. I'm having a hard time breathing. If you're wondering why I'm like, I just can't really get all my words out in one big breath of air. It's hard. Something blew in, and I'm a mouth breather, y'all. Okay? Gotta admit it. I did a little bit of fact checking, okay? Ducks do have corkscrew penises, but they don't have two vaginas. They have a corkscrew shaped vagina that goes opposite the male, and they have little dead ends that they can lead the male, the unsuitable male into. But I also found out that the corkscrew penis also have little barbs on the end that flick off the bad sperm. They're like, no, you can't go in. You're not good enough. We're already going down dead ends. Maybe they shoot them off the dead ends. Yeah, guys, work this tunnel here. We're gonna go over here around this side, see what's up. That's how it works. And we also talked about the Rubik's Cube, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of the facts on that I found. There's a place called Rubik's Twisty Puzzle Wiki, I guess, and they had a really cool article. It was like the 25 facts on Rubik's Cube. First, it was going to be called something else, the Magic Cube, which that probably wouldn't have stuck. So they changed its name in the 1980s. There was like some patent issues with it in Hungary, and so it got changed in 1980 to the Rubik's Cube. And as Bobby had said, that Rubik himself had a hard time solving it. Took him about a month to figure it out. And nowadays, with the way that we figured out algorithms and stuff, we figured out that it can be solved in less than 20 moves. But also, as Bobby was saying, if you do it one step off, then it takes like another 20-something moves to get it back. So that's kind of weird, That's kind of cool, I thought. Anyway, there's a bunch out there. There's obviously, 23 other facts on that site. I'll leave it in the show notes there, the Rubix.com thing. I've also got a little more engaged on Twitter. I know I've talked about this before. I didn't really know where Twitter was going to fit in with me and my personal life, and the professional side of it. I kind of like it. I kind of get it. I follow a lot of comedians and just some other funny people and bloggers and nature sites and stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing on there, but I like it, And so if you want to DM me or whatever, I think Twitter's a really cool place to engage. It's pretty easy, and I do like its format. So there's that. Everything else is really just a promo. Instagram, of course, you really only see me post stuff whenever it's promo time. Talking about tits on the Instagrams. And I'm definitely not really on Facebook at all. I only log on, again, when I have to promote stuff. And then I just deactivate my personal account. So you won't find me on there. I'm going to be at Utopiafest this weekend. Mentioned it at the top of the show. Go to utopiafest.com. There's still tickets available. It's going to get a little chilly, but it's supposed to be beautiful Friday and Saturday. Thursday, not going to lie, going to be some rain, possibly, but there's always rain at Utopiafest. Every Utopian knows that. So bring a poncho and start a fire. I don't know what to tell you, but it's going to be a blast, and I'll definitely report about it whenever I get back. And that's going to do it for this one, you guys. It's been a lot of fun, and until next time, I want you to take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you. It's real simple. You just follow the golden rule.